Drama surrounding Audra Winter and her book, The Age of Scorpius, was everywhere. You could not escape it. Even people like me were covering it when this was seemingly something that would have stayed on Book Talk in any other circumstance. But this was just something that was so egregious, so strange, so many twists and turns involved in it that everybody was kind of interested. But now it seems like she has disappeared. And I want to talk about it because there is a lot to say on this, and we do have concrete information on this, including people claiming she's running away with everybody's money. Let's be clear, I'm not claiming that. Don't sue me. Somebody said in my last video that they took a shot every time I said don't sue me, and they ended up in the hospital. Obviously that was a joke, but do not do that. It is the world's most dangerous drinking game. But yes, I previously spoke about Audra Winter in a 3.5-hour video, which is, to date, the longest video on my channel, and longer than any video I ever thought I would be able to make. But it turns out I had a lot to say on the subject because I was just fully engrossed in this situation. So I'm going to give you a rundown if you don't remember or if you don't know. But if you don't know, I recommend you watch the first video. Even if it is long, there is a lot to go over. There's a lot of nuance in the situation, a lot of different things that happened, and a lot of things to talk about. But the long and short of it is that Audra Winter is somebody who claims to have 10 years of writing experience, which by that she means she's been writing since she was a kid. She released her debut novel, and she was talking about this on TikTok before it came out. It was a book called The Age of Scorpius. It was set in a world where your zodiac sign determines what kind of powers you have, and everybody's segregated and things like that. And it was a cool premise. People were interested. So she got like somewhere between 6,000 to 8,000 pre-orders for this book. That is unheard of, okay? Completely unheard of. And people were so ready to love this book. Then they got the book. And the book was simply not good. Not just in like story, but in the actual writing itself, it was not good. As I said, there was a lot more to the situation than just that, obviously, or else that would have been a 5-minute video instead of a 3-hour video. But that is the really, really summarized version for you. Now, after all this happened, there were a few different updates she gave, excuses she gave, things that she said she was going to change. But what ended up happening was she said she was going to completely rewrite the book from start to finish, and she had a whole plan of how she was going to achieve this. And in fact, I think I should probably just quickly show you the plan as a recap so we can talk a bit more about where she is now. Before that though, I want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Fume. Have you ever found yourself reaching for a bad habit without even thinking about it? Maybe it's stress or boredom, or you just want to fit in, but you're just reaching for it anyway. Well, that is where Fume comes in. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device, which delivers great flavor with no harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you just draw the air into your mouth and enjoy the lovely flavors. And there are so many really nice flavors to choose from, but some of my favorites are the crisp mint and orange vanilla. Though if you are just starting off with Fume for the first time, I would personally recommend you start with the mint. And the Fume Solano is sleek, portable, and built to last. It's designed with a high quality build and a sleek aesthetic, and it just feels premium and honestly looks really pretty. And the Fume itself is built for fidgeting, so if it's a case where you just need something to do with your hands, this will keep you busy. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch to Fume, and if you're looking to try a better habit, now is the time. For a limited time, if you go to tryfume.com/VangelinaSkov and use my code VangelinaSkov, or you can scan the QR code on screen, you will get a free Fume topper when you order the journey pack today. Thank you so much to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on with the rest of it. In all honesty, I forgot how feckin' long this update video is, but this is the video where she's talking about her timeline and revision process. But this is important to go over again just because, well, one of the things we're going to talk about today is, spoiler, she has not stuck to this revision process thing that she said she was going to do. She's not stuck to her Patreon updates, and there's more than just this that we're going to discuss, but again, to give us an idea of what she's not doing, regardless of what she said she was going to do, I'm yapping. Let's have a look. Oh, sound would be so excellent. Sorry about that, lads.
I am coming on here to talk about a couple of pretty large updates. We are pushing the release date of the second edition of AOS into March. I'll explain why in a second, but we took a lot of time in the past 2 weeks with everything going on to basically put together an 8-step plan for a revision process. My goal is to get through 1 chapter at least every week, 2 if I can, but we don't want to rush it. So 1 chapter is what I really feel comfortable with based on the structure that we have built. First step in this revision process is that my team has a meeting at the beginning of every week before I start revising the chapter. Multiple of us have taken feedback from across the internet from a lot of you guys, and we like to discuss the things that are happening in each chapter and what can we do to improve it. This core team is made up of about 6 to 8 people across the arts, across different mediums, and people who have already read the first version of the book at least once, if not twice. The second step that I am taking in this...
I'm not going to repeat all the points I made in the first video, right? Because there's absolutely no need. But I can't listen to her say this and still point out how strange it is that the first step in your revision process is having a meeting with a team to 6 to 8 people across the arts, meaning like artists and stuff, not just an editor. Surely your first step should be looking at it yourself or speaking to your editor. Anyway, I want to harp on about it, but on her Patreon after this, she was posting art updates and stuff like that, or concept art and things, and I still think it was fundamentally missing the point that everybody wanted this to be a book, where she wanted this to be a multimedia franchise, but she was promoting it like it was an indie book. So
revision process is essentially reverse engineering a writing process. One of my employees is my secondary developer, Solly. I actually get on a call almost every single night for about 3 hours with Solly. And what we are doing is, before I start revisions after the team meeting, we then have another brainstorming session. And this brainstorming session is me verbally describing the outline for the revised chapter that I'm doing. So going over scenes, going over plot, and I'm working through them with my words, actively talking. And Solly helps me to develop, change ideas, shift things around. But what Solly also does is Solly is an artist. And so Solly will literally draw these things while I am outlining and do some concept art for this chapter. I am then writing descriptions.
I just want to say quickly, keep Solly in mind. We've heard about Solly before, if you've been keeping up with this drama, but Solly is going to become really important in what we're about to talk about later.
Based off of that art, which is really, really cool because it's fun to have visuals while you're writing. And the fact that I can have visuals of the things that I am writing is even cooler. Third step, simple. I rewrite the chapter. This I do by myself because it's my writing and my story. Fourth step, the entire team goes over it again. So if there's any changes that need to be made in the storytelling, I'll do that and I'll adjust it. Fifth step, we are bringing on an in-house copy editor and proofreader. This is not just somebody from our audience. We are only hiring somebody with a lot of experience in editing, preferably somebody who has been both in self and traditional publishing, and we're going through a lot of applications. That copy editor will also do some line edits, and after they're done with that, we're going to do a one-on-one discussion and apply those changes. Step 6 is that
I still cannot believe that editing does not come into play until step 5. I kind of forgot how bad this was. Like, yes, it's copy and line editing, that comes later, but this is the first time an editor of any capacity is mentioned, and it's step 5. All the artists come first. The writing is secondary. Tertiary. What? Pentiary? Is that a word? God. You'd think I wasn't a writer, guys, but I am. Somebody tell me, is pentiary a word? I'm not derailing this video so I can go Google that.
Formatting. So our formatter, Joe, he was
I'm
the
gonna
person
Google
who
it
did
while
all
she
the
yaps.
formatting on the first edition of AOS, is going to go in and re-put that file into the book format. After Joe does that, it will then go through another round of proofing. So somebody that has not been involved up to this point will go through and look at that brand new finalized chapter to make sure there are no errors in the actual book file. And if that was not enough proofing, we are taking the entire creative team, and at the end of all the finalization, we're going to go through it and check one last time if there are any errors at all. You heard me mention in the last video that there would be some changes in the artistic content in the book itself. And that is because that core team of people that help with feedback and making that outline, while I am revising and while the copy editor,
I'm sorry, but in case anybody was wondering, it's called Quinnery. You're welcome.
is editing, those people love doing the art for this thing, so they're just going to go in and do some really cool things that involve artistic storytelling along with literature-based narrative. So we're incorporating elements such as different like page borders, and we're doing that because there are scenes in the book where like it's a recollection of a memory, and so making that obvious by like art and outlining the page is going to be really cool. We're basically approaching this in the most artistic and creative way that we can, between how can we best revise this book based upon what it needs, what do we need for this book, what have we heard from people.
You need a developmental editor first and foremost. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to skip too much and just letting her talk, but I forgot how bad this video is.
And then what can we do to make it extra special and make that storytelling really shine as a team? And so that is how I built that 8-step revision process. We are completely discontinuing print on demand, so you will not be able to find this book on like Amazon or Barnes & Noble anymore. And that is because when we distribute the books and buy them from the printers, that profit goes directly back into our studio. So for those of you that have been...
Except she admitted that she had so much to do leading up to the release of her book that she didn't have time to spend on copy editing or like putting in the edits that her editor suggested. Whereas if she had just gone with print on demand instead of insisting on doing everything herself so that she could make the most profit from it, she would have had more time. That is why we do things like print on demand, because it allows you to have more time. Like, it's just not feasible for one person. I mean, I guess she kind of did it, although not everybody got their books, but she kind of did it. But for one person to ship out like 6,000 orders is insane. That's just such a hard thing where you're supposed to be focusing on the writing. But again, for her, the writing always comes second.
Wondering, like, how in the world did I pull this all off? I acted in the same way a publisher would. So I did a lot of research on who do publishers use to print their books, how do they distribute their books. And so I found a method on the TikTok shop of distributing them myself. We buy the books in bulk, so we buy big shipments of like 5,500 books. Unlike an author who has published like print on demand, we retain almost all of our profit from that book, and it goes directly back to my team. So the folks that are working on this with me get royalties. We're taking our time on this next one. We're using the whole creative team, bringing on those in-house editors, so we're incorporating everything that we built up to this point into improving the book. Super excited to share those revised chapters with you guys as we go and really show people the process that we're taking and how to involve a lot of creative minds in.
Just gonna say another spoiler for you. She's saying that she looks forward to sharing the chapters, and she did start sharing the chapters on Patreon, but only the first one. This was a while ago. So her insistence on putting these quick timelines on things is just not realistic. And I'm hoping she understands that. I'm hoping by now she does. But yeah, she's only shared one.
The publication of a book and in the building of a larger series that will turn multimedia. We're going to be posting these revised chapters on our Patreon for free, open to the public. Obviously not all of them in the book. That would not be a wise decision, but enough of them to help to rebuild trust in our audience, because I screwed up, and I know, I'm sorry. Thank you if you made it this far. I appreciate the support and the feedback from everybody up to this point. really excited to continue sharing this world with you and the best way that we can. So, welcome to the world of Guardian.
Okay, so there were a few different updates after that and a few different changes she made to what she was going to be posting, a few different announcements. But this was like the main first one, right? There was changes of timelines and things like that, but I can't sit here and read every single post because we already went over every single post. And by now, I mean, I love sitting down and watching stuff about the same stuff over and over and over again, but I know that not everybody does. So we'll move on. But I want to take a quick look at her Patreon, actually, because we did go over her Patreon before, but there was only one revised chapter, and that was chapter 1. And we actually did read that, but chapter 2 should have been out by now, and it hasn't been. So let me pull that up for you very quickly. Here we go. So this is a different update. I made it sound like I was opening chapter 1, but I was not. This is one that maybe a lot of people have seen. So on September 17th, well, September 17th for me, they say the 16th, this is written by Elrose, illustrator and project manager. Here's a sneak peek at the outline for chapter 2. So at this point, they were working on the outline. Full view for patrons at the bottom. It's in an early, rougher state than chapter 1's outline at the moment. Update on the slowdown below. So they're saying we've been working on chapter 2, but we haven't posted it. We know it's slower than we said. Here's the reason why. So I guess we can read the outline first of all. So it says, chapter 2 outline. Rika, walking from the woods, looks back and sees it lurking. It doesn't disappear. Rika runs in hoping to find Rowan. Nervousness, sees Rowan's cloak. Runs to him to tell him about Moose. Rika has no idea what Moose is. Rowan suddenly panics, does not believe her at first, and then is like, what the F? Moose sees Rowan, turns around and walks away. Rowan quizzes Rika on WTF happened out there. Something is crossed out, so we are not going to read that. Arrow leads to footnote. This is an illustrated notebook of history he hands to Rika, hand-drawn history of the Calexis. We see that literally on page. Solly's hand-drawn here. Rowan taught Rika her sketching. So this is just like an outline of what is handwritten there, and I'm not gonna like fault her for the way she writes her notes, because my notes are an absolute mess. Most writers no, not most. A lot of writers' notes are a mess. I feel like writers fall into two categories, right? You're either like super like prepared and neat and everything looks pretty, or you are chaos incarnate. I fall into the latter. So actually, I feel like she's in a nice middle ground here where, you know, she's writing her notes, she's organized, she's planning. They're just maybe a bit messy, but they probably make sense to her. So let's not, like, say anything mean about her for that. But it's the next part that is interesting and relevant for what we're talking about today. Regarding our slowed pace, so why they haven't posted chapter 2, why things haven't been going according to their own revision and posting plan. There's a lot of logistics behind the scenes, chief among them being that Winter, as in Audra, is in the process of moving. Not the most ideal time for it, but the political and economic climate of the US is concerning. As I'm sure you know, the bright side is that a big reset and renewed focus await. She'll be moving to be in close proximity to Solly. See, remember I told you that Solly was going to be important. And they'll be able to work on the second edition together in person. We're all excited to see what new vigor this brings. This does mean we probably won't have much more to share next week either, as that's the week the actual relocation itself. Sorry about that. We anticipate a strong return once Audra is settled in. For everyone, but especially those of you who are in the US, like Caitlin and I, look out for each other, find your people, and hold them close. We keep us safe. So, the point being that Audra is moving. She's moving out of the US and is moving to be closer to Solly. Now, there was a lot of speculation as to where this was. It was clearly somewhere out of the US. People were assuming Europe and had found something that suggested that it may be Finland, according to what Solly has posted about themselves online. But it did bring up a lot of questions regarding Audra and why she's doing this and why she's doing it now. A lot of theorizing, But there was one more thing that actually came up about this that is important to look at too. So this is a post that was going around on TikTok. And this is allegedly from Audra's Facebook, where she was posting about her move. Now, I have to be very careful here and say the fact that I cannot find the original post. It's either gone or I am just not able to find it. So this may not be attached to Audra. It may be a complete fake. Who knows? But it's still going around regardless. Now, there was a longer version, and unfortunately there was an address in it and people were sharing it around. So I would urge people, whenever you see something online and you want to share it, if you see that there is an address, don't do it or censor it out. Please do not share addresses online. Even if the person is moving, it's just not a good idea. Okay? Just don't do it. But anyway, this says, everything must go. Last few photo lists what's being offered as free, the cost, free/the cost, optional, I just want it gone, of the nicer and newer furniture. I am relocating to Finland on 2-week notice. Long story. And I cannot bring my furniture. Most of it is very new and in great condition, as I am a small business owner who used the space as a home and office. I rather have someone take the furniture for a steal than pay movers to throw things in a storage unit for an undetermined amount of time. So there is more, but it's cut off because it's not relevant. It's just about where the place is and how you can come and get the furniture. So if this is from Audra, a lot of people believe that it is. I think probably it is, but obviously there's always that little bit of doubt that it might just be a fake that's going around. This confirms a couple of things. Namely, that it is Finland that she's moving to. Secondly, and this is something I'm not seeing brought up too much, is the 2-week notice part. So people have been pointing out that Audra said she's planning to move for a long time, but here she's saying that it's 2-week notice, and it is a little bit sketchy, but I don't find it as sketchy as... Or I find this bit sketchy, but I don't find the whole situation as sketchy as some people do. Because there's a lot of people now who are claiming that Audra is only moving because she wants to just remove herself from any responsibility from this situation. They think that she has just taken the money and is running, basically, to make a long story short. So let me show you just some of the things that people are saying on TikTok about this. Oh, once again, the sound has evaded me.
Now, I had seen this before in her Facebook post, which this is on her personal Facebook, so I'm not going to go ahead and show her name there. But
the address is blocked out here.
To us on Patreon last night that she is moving from the U.S. to Finland. Regarding our slowed pace, there's a lot of logistics behind the scenes, chief among them being that winter is in the process of moving. Not the most ideal time for it, but the political and economic climate of the U.S. is concerning, as I'm sure you know. The bright side is that a big reset and renewed focus await. She'll be moving to be in close proximity to Sully, and they'll be able to work on the second edition together in person. We're all excited to see what new vigor this brings. The post goes on to say that they're not really going to have a whole lot to share this week or the next coming week, and as with moving, it's probably going to be at least another week, if not 2 beyond this, until we're really going to get a good other writing update.
So yeah, people were seeing the, no, don't start the next video in 5 seconds, go away. People were seeing the, I've completely lost the video. Here we go. We're seeing the Facebook post that was leaked before anything was said on Patreon, and it does make you wonder whether the Patreon post was made because the Facebook post was being shared around and everybody was speculating on this and they just wanted to get ahead of it and tell people what was going on, or if this was just a Patreon post that was already planned. But the timing of it is a little bit odd. Anyway, as you can see, this one says, Audra Winter is leaving the USA with all your pre-order money. Oh my god, lads, the sound. I have to be honest with you guys, I am really tired today. I couldn't sleep yesterday, so if I'm a little bit off my game, this is why, and I really apologize, but just like this one time, just let me be a little bit messy because I'm just so tired.
Audra Winters telling her fans that she's moving out of the US to like avoid the political climate of the United States, and not because she's about to run off with all of your money and probably owes the IRS like several $1,000s. And you guys believing that is just so funny to me. Oh my god. Like, at what point do you just like accept that this entire thing is just like a big giant grift? Like, this whole team, everything, I don't think any of it like exists. The team is probably just like one bum living in his mom's basement.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say there's a lot to comment on there. Firstly, the fact that she doesn't think the team is real, but also the claim that Audra is moving because she wants to run away with all the money and not pay her taxes or whatever. A lot to say. This is the belief that a lot of people have had since it came out that she was moving. They think that she has just taken all this money that she got through the pre-orders of her book and is just leaving, right? Like, she wants to get away with not writing the book. A lot of people think this. A lot of people think she also wants to get away with not paying taxes because she's allegedly had this big team, and the question is, how has she managed to pay that when there's no new money coming in, when she's claiming to employ people or at least have them on a contract basis? And that's all understandable why you would think that, but I personally do not believe that she is leaving the US to avoid responsibility or get away with paying her taxes. First of all, the US is renowned for hunting you down for any taxes that you owe them, regardless of whether you are in the country or not. Now, obviously, you can get away with it, sure, but it's a bit iffy and questionable. And then it would beg the question, well, what if she re-enters the US to see her family or her friends or to pick up furniture? But all the furniture's gone, but you know what I mean? She might be like stopped when she tries to go in because she owes so much tax money. So it's a bit ridiculous, I feel, of a thing. Like, you can fully believe this if you want to, I just don't. And I kind of think it's like believing the worst in her. Whereas you saw my last video, probably. If you haven't already watched the last video, you'll have a lot more understanding of what's going on here. I agreed with a lot of the criticism about Audra, right? Like, I agreed that she was doing things the wrong way. She didn't seem like somebody who cared about being a writer. She seemed like somebody who didn't even read all that much. She maybe was overstating how much experience she had, how good of her writing was. She kind of twisted things about the editor she had because she made it sound like she had the editor who edited the Hunger Games, whereas it was an editor who had worked on the marketing team of the Hunger Games. So not quite the same thing, but you know, there's a lot of things that I agreed with that people are saying, but at the end of the day, I don't think Audra is this big, evil, scammy mastermind. I think she had a lot of ideas about what she wanted to do, and I think she overestimated her own abilities, to be perfectly honest with you, which is not in and of itself a crime. I do think she did some things wrong. I think she was potentially a little bit manipulative in some of the ways she went about things, but I do not believe she is this evil scammer who is just out to take everybody's money and run away with it. Clearly she cares about this world. She does. Whether she cares about the writing aspect, that is a whole different thing. Again, I've already said I personally don't believe that she does care about the writing or about being a writer generally. But I don't think that she doesn't care about this world. Like, it seems to be the most important thing to her, and I don't think she's lying about that. I mean, she would have had to have been playing this long con for like the 4 years she's been on TikTok talking about this book, in the hopes that it would go viral and then she could scam everybody and pretend to hire a team and make loads of money and then run away to Europe. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And it's also not that easy to do, to just leave the country, right? Just move to a different country. And again, evade your taxes. That's a hard thing to do. And it also means you might have some trouble if you ever try to go back to the US. And she has family and she has friends and it's a mess. There are reasons that people move. Maybe some of the reasons she's moving is because she feels overwhelmed, she needs a change, maybe she does just want to be closer to Solly, maybe it is to do with the political and economic climate of the US. Fully understandable. Like, there are so many reasons why somebody would move. And I'm not 100% sure that where she lives is our business, if that makes sense. And I know that's rich coming from the fact that, like, I just made a whole video about it, but I mostly wanted to talk about this allegation that she's just running away with the money. I just don't buy it. It just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of people, they seem to think this is true, but I really feel like it's just like looking for the worst in her. Like, she's done something that people don't like. They didn't like her attitude. They didn't like the way she handled things. And now, because of that, they see everything she does as a problem. And if new evidence comes out, I'll fully eat my words, right? You know I will. But based on all the evidence I have now, the only evidence we have is that she just moved the country. And it's not like moving the country means she's going to be undetectable. She's still going to exist, right? Finland is not a different planet. So she would have to completely remove herself from the internet in order to escape this, in order to escape any criticism, or to get away with not writing the book. So, and I mean, if she wanted to not write the book, she probably could just not write the book. Like, she could choose tomorrow, actually, guys, I changed my mind. I'm not rewriting this book. I'm going to go do something else. And there are a handful of people who have pre-ordered. She could just refund their money. But the people that have already bought the first edition of the book, the one that is already out, they're not owed a refund. So it's not like she owes anybody any money that she's trying to escape from. She's fully within her rights to say, I'm not writing this book anymore. I changed my mind. Regardless of what country she's living in, you know? And I'm not saying that it's like the best choice for her. I'm not saying it's the worst. I'm just saying she could do it. But also there are people who agree with me and don't think this makes sense. So I'm just going to read some of the comments on this TikTok specifically, the one that we just watched. Did I read right? Here, in Finland, huh? I guess she's gonna move into the Lapland part since she's always talked about wolves in the book, but Somebody else says, you can't just move randomly to another country. It takes several months. You have to go through several application processes. They have to determine if your business is worth coming to the EU, and then you can have a residency work visa, and then 5 years later, you can apply for a permanent residence visa. Yeah, like, moving is not an easy thing to do, but there's an assumption being made here that she's moving with her business. She could just be closing down the business. She really could be. Or there could be some other business stuff, like where it could stay in the US maybe, and she's just moving as herself, as an individual. I'm not claiming to know everything about businesses. I do not. As established, I am not an LLC because that is too much hassle for me. I don't want to do that. I could. It was an option when I was like moving all my stuff when I moved back to Ireland and was like dealing with my accounting stuff. I was just like, nope. I'm just gonna be an individual sole proprietor, sole trader. I cannot be doing that. But let's see the replies to this. She may have a claim to some kind of visa or citizenship, who knows? Maybe she isn't going at all and will just disappear in general. Who knows? She's pretty delulu. I mean, yeah, to a point here, like, there's plenty of reasons why she could be moving, right? Like, plenty of ways she could have gotten into the country that we don't know about, and we don't really have the right to know unless she wants to tell us. But again, maybe she'll just disappear. I have to repeat, Finland is not another planet. Like, it's like right there. I'm looking upwards, by the way. I'm looking at a map. I'm looking at a map in my brain. Finland's like up here. I'm like here. All the Americans are over here. So, like, it's not the middle of nowhere. It's still, like, Finland is a real country. In fact, I met some people from Finland the other day. They were lovely. They were real. And as soon as they went back to Finland, they didn't disappear from the face of the earth because it's still the same planet. So, you can't just disappear. Isn't she American so she can stay there for 3 months without a visa while she applies? Just because you apply doesn't mean you'll be accepted. I highly doubt they'll accept her business as necessary and profitable addition to the EU. Yeah, but again, that's assuming that she is moving with her business, which is a lot of the mistake people are making. She could just be moving as an individual. There's no reason why she is definitely moving her business to Finland. Like, nobody has suggested anything to do with that. It's just a lot, you know? Like, I'm not going to read these comments all day because there's no need. It's a lot of back and forth. There's one here that says taxes don't vanish just because you cross a border, lol. And that is kind of what I'm not, they don't disappear. Like, you can't just move to Finland and everything's fine. That's not how it works. I think it's a complete misunderstanding of Europe, to be honest with you. But as you scroll these comments, you can see there's people who agree, people who don't, people who think it's a grift, people who don't. And just to comment briefly on the part this person said where she thinks the whole team is fake, I personally don't. Just because we've heard their voices, for one, in other stuff. The fact that we have the posts of Audra looking for artists to work with her. We see the art. Audra's never claimed to draw anything herself. I don't think she's an artist of any kind, like drawing kind of artist. So no, I don't think her team are fake. I feel like that's a little bit leaning into conspiracy mode. But again, maybe I'm naive and this is all a big conspiracy. But again, it just feels like looking for the worst possible thing to see in her. So there was some more posts on the Patreon after this, but there is one that I want to look at specifically because it's one where Audra herself talks about what's going on at the moment. She doesn't really talk about the move, but she talks about some of the things and why it's hard for her to get updates out. So this says, October 8th, update, words from Winter. Hey everyone, Winter and Solly have been making good progress, but none of the projects we mentioned last week, full outline, creative nonfiction, animatic, are ready for release yet. And this is what I'm saying, like the things aren't getting posted in the time that they are supposed to be being posted, which is only fueling people's idea that she's just moved to get away from all this. But then I would argue if she's just moved to get away from all this, she would just delete the Patreon. Like, she has like 8 people paying for it. It's not like it's making her huge money. There are huge numbers in the Patreon, but they're almost exclusively free members. 2 of those projects are directly addressing major problems in the first edition of The Age of Scorpius. Another major problem, perhaps the most critical problem, is that the book definitely got rushed out under unexpected pressure, with several key steps not done properly. Copy, edit, beta readers, or not done at all, ARC readers. I was personally hoping for a quicker stream of content by now, but I think given the amount of upheaval that Winter's gone through recently, both personally and professionally, that wasn't a realistic expectation to set. So that's on me. And here's a message from the author herself. I mean, I don't know that this Elrose person is the one who set the pressure, because like, she was the one who said she was going to have stuff out by now, you know? Like, she kind of put these timelines in place. I don't know. Is Elrose a real person? Now I'm on this other conspiracy. Anyway, here's the message from Audra. Good things are happening. I just need some extra time because I am most... Sorry, my phone is ringing and it's distracting me. Good things are happening. I just need some extra time because I am most definitely writing and recovering my voice. But after what's happened, I'm far more hesitant about sharing it with the internet until it's really where I want it to be. Fully honest, I've been going through a lot of inevitable but good emotional bumps and adjusting to huge changes in my life. Though I have been seeing my creative spark return, it's not in writing that I can share yet. I will have to be another simple update again this week. Sorry about that. I appreciate you all. The truth is, I'm recovering from what was a critically dangerous mental state. I was deeply affected by the amount of backlash to both the book and the revision announcement. Lately, being an artist has meant processing this experience of my deepest fears, worries, emotions, and memories to turn that back into the art itself. This is a moment that I truly feel needs to be unpressurized. I struggle to focus knowing that there are expectations from me to go, go, go. It's hard when I'm writing pieces that are shining as some of my best work, but I don't feel able to share them publicly yet. I'm sure once I get back into the swing of Age of Scorpius that the weekly updates won't bug me or feel like too much pressure, but at the moment the emotional intensity of life weighs very heavy on my writing. Creatively, this is great, but I do need adequate time to channel this storm of experiences into a coherent expression. And this is where I do understand what she's talking about, right? Because regardless of the fact that, yeah, the book was bad, the criticism was warranted, but that doesn't mean it's going to be something that's easy to deal with. Like, she was all set for success. She had this amazing number of pre-orders. People were excited. And although I believe, and a lot of people believe, she kind of shot herself in the foot herself with not doing the work that it needed to be as good as it could be, it still is hard to deal with when so many people are saying they hate what you did, demanding a refund, talking about you, talking about all the things you've done wrong. Even if you are mostly responsible for that criticism, it's still going to be really deeply difficult to deal with, especially when she is somebody who's said that this world has been all she's cared about for 10 years. It means everything to her. And she wanted it to mean the same to others, but it just didn't. So it's difficult. It is difficult, and that is going to make it really scary to share anything when you know so many people are watching and so many people are looking. However, as much as I understand and recognize that, I also recognize the fact that this is somewhat self-inflicted and that she is the one who said that she's going to be making these weekly updates. She doesn't have to. She really doesn't have to. Nobody is making her do this. She could simply say, I can't do these updates anymore. It's too much pressure. I'm going to work on my writing. And when it's ready, I will come back to the internet and I'll share it with you all. Or she can just do a TikTok now and again if she really wants to share something. There is no need to do the Patreon. And I think she should strongly consider cutting it off because it seems to be detrimental to what she's trying to do, which is rewrite the book and do it well. But this added pressure and these self-inflicted timelines, time and time again, are just not helping her. And if anything, they're just hindering her. And now she doesn't even want to share the stuff, but the thing is, she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to. I think the reason that she's continuing with this Patreon stuff and trying to do updates is because she doesn't want people to forget about her. She doesn't want to lose momentum. She doesn't want all of the work that she put into this to just be for nothing and everybody forget, and when she rewrites the book, everybody forgets about it. But I don't think that's going to be the case, because imagine if she like took the time away from the internet, was like, this is too much pressure, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to rewrite this. Went away, rewrote it, did it well, gave it the editing and the time that it deserved, and then came back. I think people would find it. People would pick up on it and they would like it. But as for now, the Patreon is actually on pause, so I'm going to find that for you as well. So here is the post from the 9th of October. It says, hello everyone, we're going to pause Patreon billing for the time being. Since the last writing updates have been so little to show, we've been in ongoing conversation about the pace of work. There's also the spring 2026 deadline for the revision to think about. We still want to hit that. But you don't have to. It's a self-inflicted deadline. You could just not. You could just give it as much time as it needs. Just give it as much time as it needs and people will be happy. People will be happy, I promise you. But as Winter mentioned in the previous update, returning to a good pace is proving more difficult than anticipated. She needs time to adjust to a big change in living situation, but also to process and internalize everything that's happened so she can move forward clear-headed. Everything in her life is saying this is the time to slow down and take stock, not speed up. I absolutely agree. The team as a whole have slowed down a lot as well. Currently, the only active members are myself, Audra, Caitlin, and Solly. And I am going to just take a quick pause because my phone keeps ringing. I apologize, just my phone kept ringing. Turned out it was really important. And as my role has diminished significantly, I've returned to spending most of my time on other work for over a month now. In light of all of this, I suggested we pause the Patreon as we aren't going to be able to deliver the promised updates during this time. It seems like the right thing to do to respect everyone's investment rather than to keep setting goals for content that we can't hit. I agree. I do wonder why Audra herself didn't come up with this, but again, I'm going to give her grace. She is moving, it's difficult, there's a lot going on, probably this is the last thing on her brain. To everyone who's been following us here, and particularly everyone who's been gracious enough to become a patron, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We will be back to show you how Age of Scorpius shapes up in round 2. I've learned through all this not to give an exact date. Thank the Lord above. Yes. Don't give an exact date, please. But after all our conversations, my estimate is roughly 1 month. This aligns with Patreon's pause feature. It goes 1 month at a time. If we can return sooner, we will. If we have to wait longer, I will let everyone know. See you in about a month. I absolutely agree that this was the right move. Just pause it. All of these deadlines, like I keep repeating, are self-inflicted. They don't need to be done in a month, in a week, in a whatever. Just go, do the work, come back. Or even don't do the work. Take a minute. Take a minute, breathe. Because, again, I agreed with a lot of the criticisms, but I also recognize that it's a very difficult thing to go through when the work you've put out into the world is universally disliked and a lot of people are talking about you. And she's not, in my opinion, some evil, horrible person. I don't think most people think she's an evil, horrible person. She just wrote a bad book and she probably just needs a minute to breathe, to relax, to register what's happened, to process, and just take a minute to be okay. Because she deserves a minute to be okay. She really does. And I just hope maybe there'll be some other conversations about this whole Patreon thing. I just don't think it's helpful for her to have this. It's not like she's making money off it. I just think it would be the best thing for her to just let it go. Put up a TikTok every now and again if you want to do an update, but in your own time, not be like, here's the exact timeline, because it's clearly not good for you. It's stressing you out, and the stress is not going to help your writing process. As is clear, she doesn't want to share stuff because this is so stressful. And it's understandable. So I don't know. There's so much more I could say about this, but I just wanted to give you guys these updates since I know a lot of people have been wondering if there's any updates. Here's where we are. She's moved. People think she's trying to get away from paying her taxes. I do not agree. You can believe whatever you want, I suppose. And the Patreon is currently on pause. So I'm not going to update just because there's a new Patreon post, but if it's something worth talking about, I will. Or if there's a bigger update, I'll talk about it. But as for now, this seems to be everything. She's just kind of gone. And I think that's a good thing. Take your time, write your book, hone your craft, learn the skill of writing, and you can write a book that people want to read because people love the concept and people do want to cheer you on. They do. If you wrote a good book, everybody would be here to read it. But let me know in the comments what you think about all of this, of course. And if you don't want to leave me a comment about that, then leave me a comment that says, Bound by Blood and Sea. Because that's my book. That is my book. It is the first book in the Drowned God series. That's so not how you say that, but my mouth is really tired. As established, I'm very tired. And this is my debut novel. It's a dark fantasy novel. It is out on November 16th. It's got mermaids, fae, political intrigue, court intrigue, Irish mythology, and a slow burn sapphic romance. So if that's something that interests you, you can check the description for a link to read more about it on my website or pre-order it. Either get the paperback on my website directly or you can pre-order the ebook on Amazon or wherever. So yeah, thank you so much guys for the support on this already. I won't talk about it too much because I have been talking about it a lot, but if you want to read more about what it's about, you can see that on Goodreads or on Amazon or on my website. But yeah, thank you so much. Like, comment, share, please subscribe, helps me out a lot if you do that. And follow me on social media. I'm VangelinaSkov everywhere. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget to check out Fume. Link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on screen. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.